How can a perfectly round metallic sphere with no wings, no seams, and no visible propulsion fly?
After I took the sphere from the place, I looked around the area and all the grass around it was dried up.
The Colombian town of Buga witnessed something that defied explanation. A smooth metallic sphere streaking across the sky, moving in impossible patterns before landing in a nearby wooded area. Its cold surface, strange symbols, and flawless construction baffled everyone who saw it. Was it advanced human technology, a relic from an ancient civilization, or something not of this earth? Experts gathered to open it for the first time, and what they found inside left them stunned. What did they find?
It's really high technology, and the important thing, Jimmy, is this object for the first time is in the hands of civilians.
Join us as we reveal why experts are speechless after the Buga Sphere opened for the first time. The day the sphere arrived in Buga. It was just another quiet day in Buga, Colombia, until the sky decided to put on a show nobody there will ever forget. On March 2nd, locals looked up and saw something strange. A smooth metallic orb was darting across the sky in sharp, sudden movements, zigzagging in a way that no plane, drone, or helicopter could match. It wasn't gliding like a bird or drifting like a balloon. It was cutting through the air like it had a mind of its own, changing direction almost instantly. And then it came down. Witnesses say it landed in a wooded area just outside town. When people rushed over to get a closer look, they saw it sitting there on the ground. The first thing they noticed? It was cold, not just cool, cold like it had been sitting inside a refrigerator, even though it had been flying through the sky. But that wasn't the only surprising thing. Up close, the sphere was about the size of a small melon and weighed roughly 4.5 pounds, or just over 2 kilograms. Its surface was completely smooth. No welds, no seams, nothing to show how it was made. Instead of scratches or dents from its fall, it had markings carved into the metal. These weren't random scratches. They looked like symbols. Some resembled ancient runes, some like Ogham from old Celtic stone carvings, and others looked like the kind of characters found in Mesopotamian writing thousands of years ago. Whoever picked it up could tell it wasn't just a hollow ball. The balance was strange. Inside, scientists would later confirm, there were 3 concentric metal layers, and within those layers, 18 tiny metallic microspheres arranged neatly around a dense central core, something researchers began calling the chip. But at that moment, no one in Buga knew what they were holding. Word traveled fast. Photos and videos taken on phones were online in hours. A social media account called @TruthPolex was one of the first to post about it, and those posts blew up. Soon, millions of people were looking at this shiny, alien-looking object that had apparently just fallen from the sky in Colombia. Then came one of the strangest claims of all. A video surfaced online showing the sphere supposedly responding to Sanskrit chants. In the clip, someone is heard playing or reciting the chants while the camera focuses on the object. The person filming insists it reacts in some way. Scientists haven't confirmed anything about that claim, but it didn't matter. The story was already out there, and people were convinced this was something more than just a piece of space junk. Local man David Vélez El Potro became one of the central figures in the story. He said the sphere had strange effects when handled. He claimed that the man who first picked it up, someone named Jose, felt sick for days afterward. Even stranger, Vélez El Potro described pouring water on the sphere and seeing it instantly turn to steam, as if the inside was hot while the outside stayed freezing cold. If that wasn't enough to keep the town talking, there were also reports that the Colombian government wanted to take the sphere away. According to Vélez El Potro, officials contacted him asking for it to be handed over. He refused, saying if the authorities got it, it would disappear and never be seen again. Instead, he gave it to Mexican journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan, hoping Maussan's team could figure out what it was. Maussan was already a well-known name in UFO circles. He'd been involved in other controversial investigations, including claims about alien mummies in Peru that remain unconfirmed. But he was also one of the few people willing to take possession of the sphere and get experts to start looking at it right away. By the end of that first day, the Buga Sphere wasn't just a strange find in a Colombian forest. It was a worldwide headline. News outlets were calling it mysterious. UFO enthusiasts were calling it proof. Skeptics were already warning against jumping to conclusions. And in the middle of it all, the metallic orb sat quietly in the hands of people determined to find out where it came from. Looking back, that single day, the sighting, the landing, the first touch, the rush to photograph it, the claims about how it reacted, set the stage for everything that followed. It was the start of a story that would pull in scientists, journalists, conspiracy theorists, and regular people from around the world. Nobody in Buga knew whether they'd just witnessed a strange accident, a piece of secret technology gone astray, or the arrival of something from far beyond Earth. But one thing was certain: the sphere had landed, and life in the town would never be quite the same. Up next, we reveal the content of the sphere. You don't want to miss it. The moment the Buga Sphere opened. For weeks, the sphere sat in Jaime Maussan's possession, guarded and studied from the outside. People wanted answers, but no one dared to rush the process. This wasn't the kind of object you just crack open with a wrench, not when its origin and composition were complete mysteries. Before anyone touched it, researchers scanned it with X-rays. What those images showed only deepened the mystery. Inside the smooth metal shell were clearly defined structures, shapes too precise to be random. There were 3 main layers, each one fitting perfectly within the other like Russian nesting dolls. And, in between them, tiny, perfectly round microspheres arranged in an exact pattern. The scans also hinted at something even stranger. The density readings didn't match any common manufactured object. The layers seemed to be made of different materials, each heavier than the last. If it was a hoax, someone had gone to incredible lengths to make it convincing. Finally, the day came. Cameras were set up, and specialists brought in precision tools. This would be the first time in history that human hands looked inside what was now being called the Buga Sphere. The opening wasn't done with brute force. It was slow, calculated, surgical. As the first cut began, the sparks that flew off the blade were a visual reminder. This was no soft metal. The outer shell was incredibly tough, possibly titanium or a steel alloy, though no one wanted to declare that without full lab testing. The cut revealed the first interior surface, smooth again, without bolts, welds, or seams. Whoever made this didn't build it the way we build things. Layer by layer, the sphere gave up its secrets. When the second shell came free, the team got their first direct look at the inner arrangement of microspheres. There were exactly 18 of them, each the size of a marble, set in precise alignment around the central core, not scattered, not touching, each in its own place, as though the entire thing had been engineered with mathematical perfection. The core itself was different. A dark, denser band encircled it, and embedded in that band were more microspheres, smaller and even more uniform than the ones outside. Some on the team called it a chip or control unit, though no one could say for sure what it actually did. And then there were the inscriptions. On the inside of the shell, invisible until the opening, were more of those strange symbols seen on the outside. When the markings were compared side by side with ancient writing systems, some experts noted similarities to Sanskrit, Agam, and Sumerian scripts. It was like a puzzle that drew from multiple cultures and eras, but the arrangement didn't match any known language exactly. An AI-assisted translation attempt produced something unexpected. It strung together a rough interpretation, a message about protecting the environment, about humanity needing to change its collective consciousness to survive. But skeptics warned the result might be nothing more than pattern matching and wishful thinking. Without rigorous linguistic analysis, it was impossible to know whether it was truly a message or just an accidental resemblance. Still, there was no denying the craftsmanship. The sphere's interior was so clean, so precise, that even experienced engineers watching the footage admitted they had no idea how it could have been manufactured, especially without any visible points of assembly. When the final layer came away and the core was exposed in full, the room fell quiet. This was it, the heart of the Buga Sphere. No one could say whether it was a sensor, a storage device, or something else entirely. It didn't light up, it didn't make a sound, it just sat there, perfectly still, as though keeping its secrets for another time. The opening didn't end the mystery. If anything, it multiplied it. If this was a human-made object, it would likely require advanced machining well beyond what most facilities could manage. If it wasn't human-made, then the implications were staggering. Some scientists urged patience, calling for metallurgical tests, isotope analysis, and open peer review before making any claims. Others, especially in UFO research circles, felt the evidence was already clear. This was no accident, no random piece of debris. Perhaps most telling was the reaction from the experts in the room. Many came expecting to debunk the story. They left saying only one thing. They had never seen anything like it before. The sphere was open now. Its contents had been revealed. But the real question, the one that kept people up at night, remained. Who made it and why? Get ready for some wild theories. Science versus speculation. Once the Buga Sphere was opened, the story should have gotten clearer. Instead, it exploded into two very different worlds, the world of science and the world of speculation. On one side were researchers and engineers who wanted to stick to hard data. On the other side were believers, convinced the sphere was proof of something extraordinary. And between them, the public, millions of people following every update online, trying to decide which side to believe. From the scientific perspective, the first step was analysis. Metallurgists began running tests to determine exactly what the sphere was made of. Early reports hinted at titanium and other high-strength alloys, but no full composition was officially published right away. Some experts cautioned that titanium spheres aren't unheard of in aerospace and satellite engineering. Fuel tanks, pressure vessels, and certain drone components use similar shapes. If the Buga Sphere had fallen from orbit, it might be part of an old satellite or rocket stage. But that theory didn't sit well with everyone. Aerospace engineers pointed out that space debris rarely survives re-entry intact, especially at the speed this object was seen moving. Even if it did survive, its cold to the touch temperature and lack of burn marks were difficult to explain. One specialist remarked, if this came from space, it didn't come down the way normal debris does. Meanwhile, the believers leaned into the details that seemed hardest to explain away. The perfect internal symmetry. The 18 microspheres arranged like a model of an atom. The layered structure without welds or seams. The strange inscriptions that looked like they belonged to multiple ancient cultures at once. To them, these were not features of an industrial pressure vessel. They were deliberate design choices, maybe even clues left for us to find. The biggest flashpoint was the supposed Sanskrit reaction video. Some viewers claimed the sphere vibrated when certain chants were played near it. Others dismissed the clip as inconclusive, pointing out that no controlled experiment had been done. In response, a few independent researchers began testing the sphere with various sound frequencies, hoping to detect measurable vibrations or changes. Online, the debate turned into a wildfire. UFO forums lit up with theories. An alien probe sent to observe human activity. Ancient advanced technology from a lost civilization resurfacing in our time. A secret government experiment that accidentally went public. A hoax designed to fool UFO enthusiasts and go viral. Each theory had its own group of passionate defenders and detractors. The Colombian government's role added more fuel to the fire. According to David Vélez El Potro, officials wanted to confiscate the sphere. To many, that was proof it was important. Governments don't chase hoaxes, they argued. Skeptics countered that officials might just want to investigate a potential hazardous object. especially if it came from space. Even within the scientific community, there were divisions. Some were curious and open to the possibility that this could be a genuine unknown. Others were blunt. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and so far, we have an intriguing object, not proof of extraterrestrial life. Then came the comparisons to past cases. People brought up the Betz mystery sphere, discovered in Florida in 1974, which also had unusual internal structures and baffled some scientists before being dismissed as industrial debris. They mentioned the Kecksburg UFO of 1965, where an acorn-shaped object allegedly crashed in Pennsylvania and was quickly removed by the military. Whether or not those cases were connected, the similarities kept the story alive. The final chapter analyzes the implication of this discovery. Keep watching to find out more. What this means for the UFO conversation. Now that the sphere has been opened, people are asking what comes next. The raw mystery has shifted. It is no longer just a strange sighting or a viral clip. It is a physical item that was examined and then discussed openly. That change matters because physical objects force different kinds of questions and a different kind of response. If the sphere is authentic and not made on Earth, the stakes are huge. Some researchers said an object like this would be the first time a clear piece of physical hardware suggested intentional design from beyond our planet. They pointed out that physical proof changes the discussion from "have we seen something odd in the sky?" to "do we have material evidence that can be tested?" That shift would add weight to a growing set of UAP reports that governments have already admitted they cannot fully explain. For many people, a genuine non-human artifact would push the topic from fringe interest toward mainstream science and policy. It would also force states and labs to set up formal studies, funding lines, and shared protocols for testing strange finds. If the sphere is made on Earth, the implications are different but still important. Even a human-made object that can't be easily explained could point to advanced engineering that is not in the public domain. That raises questions about secret projects and classified tech. Some voices in the scientific community said caution is needed before assuming anything about origin, because human programs have surprised the public before. The sphere could be cutting-edge work from a private lab or military program, or it could be a sophisticated stunt. Either way, the lesson is the same. Claims must be checked in labs with clear, traceable evidence. A human origin would also remind people that just because something looks alien, it does not mean it is alien. The opening of the sphere has already changed how people see the whole UAP issue. For a lot of people, seeing a physical object taken apart made the topic feel more real and urgent. That excitement can push better science, more labs asking for samples, more independent groups asking to test, and more pressure on officials to be transparent. At the same time, many scientists and journalists warned that excitement must be balanced with strict methods. They said the public wants answers fast, but fast answers without clear tests create confusion and distrust. Transparency was named again and again as the key. Show the tests, show who handled the item, publish the data, and let others try to replicate the findings. The sphere has also highlighted gaps in how the world handles UAP evidence. People pointed out that there are no clear international rules for what to do when an unknown object is found in one country but attracts global attention. Who gets to test it? How should samples move across borders? Who verifies the chain of custody? These questions matter because they affect trust. If tests are done behind closed doors or only by groups tied to certain interests, public trust falls. If tests are open and peer-reviewed, the results carry more weight. So what comes next? Scientists and independent groups called for a set of basic standard tests. They asked for metallurgical analysis to identify the materials and their exact makeup, isotope testing to check where elements might have come from, and more imaging at higher resolution to document inside and out without destroying key parts. They asked for blind testing by independent labs so results could be checked and repeated. They also urged that all data be shared in peer-reviewed formats so other experts could weigh in. That kind of openness was described as the only way to make real progress and avoid endless online arguments. Beyond lab work, people expect policy and science to change if the sphere turns out to be unusual. Some experts said governments might need new rules on how to report and handle UAP finds, including clear notice to scientific bodies and protections for international access. If something non-human is confirmed, there will be immediate pressure for coordinated, transparent research across nations. If the object is human-made and classified, the episode will likely trigger calls for oversight and for clearer limits on secrecy where public safety or scientific knowledge is involved. If it is shown to be a hoax, critics said the field still benefits by getting better standards for evidence and stronger checks on viral claims. Do you think the Buga Sphere is actually alien-made? Kindly share your answers, thoughts, and opinions in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel to enjoy more videos like this. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.